The unforgiving oceans of the Antarctic are poorly understood and extremely dangerous to venture due to the rough weather and intense currents, making it one of, if not the most dangerous oceans or places in general in the world. And according to reports on the interwebs, a Goliath creature hides with an unsettling appearance that makes it the last thing you want to see in the last place you want to be in. Welcome to Cryptid Corner, the series All Things Cryptids, and today we're going to look into the Ningen. The Antarctic Ocean is one of the coldest oceans on the planet, with ocean temperatures routinely falling below freezing, being kept from freezing due to the high amounts of salt in the waters. Along with this, and the countless icebergs in the region, the powerful currents on the Southern Ocean makes ocean travel brutal, although it is pivotal to the world's climate. The currents push nutrient-rich waters into greater oceans and allow for plankton to eat large amounts of the global carbon emissions. This makes the waters extremely nutrient-rich and has given several creatures to call these waters home and evolve to survive in this unique environment, with some creatures being isolated from the rest of the world due to the powerful currents of this ocean. But one creature is said to eclipse all other creatures in this ocean while also hiding from detection for much of history. The Ningen is a new age cryptid that has two different descriptions, making it a little confusing. Also, a lot of people say Ningen. I'm just going to go with Ningen, because Dragon Ball. Ningen also translates into human or person in Japanese. One description describes them as basically a beluga with long legs without a tail, which just makes them look goofy as hell. Due to their appearance and pale white complexion, they are often compared to Fresno nightcrawlers, but I don't think anything should be compared to the greatest cryptids of all time. Fresno nightcrawler squad, stand up. But the more widespread and more unsettling Ningen description is far less comical, appearing somewhat like a mermaid in body shape, but far, far bigger. Ningen are said to have colossal white bodies that reach lengths of about 20 to 30 meters, maxing out around the size of a blue whale, the largest creature to ever live, although they could get even bigger. They possess a head often resembling a beluga, with black eyes and small mouths. Most unsettling, however, are their long human-like arms that often end in fingered hands, leaving you to wonder just what they need them for. What is it? Does it grab whales out of the water, or does it even grab ships? Ningen are also nocturnal, being most active on the surface during the nighttime, leading to fewer sightings of them, although nobody knows what they do in the depths of the ocean. Due to their large sizes and pale white bodies, they are able to disguise themselves as icebergs, hiding in plain sight. Ningen are thought to have been inspired by a yokai known as the Umibozu, which are equally terrifying. Umibozu are described as giant, pitch-black humanoid creatures with massive round eyes that live in the oceans and appear when the waters are calm, only to make them insanely violent upon appearing. Umibozu are easily capable of destroying ships, although sometimes they will request that the crew gives them a barrel, and if you make its request, it will begin to pour water into your boat, or it might just give you a little kiss on the cheek. It is said that you can trick an Umibozu by giving it a bottomless barrel, where it will endlessly try to fill the barrel, giving you a chance to escape. The legend of the Ningen originates from 2chan, an old Japanese image board from which 4chan was inspired from, with a thread in 2007 being considered the origin point for the legend. A poster would claim to have worked on a whale research vessel when they would notice something off in the distance that they thought to be a submarine or an iceberg. But upon getting closer, they would realize that whatever they saw, it was a living creature, and a massive one at that. Eventually, it would submerge, leaving them to wonder just what they had encountered. This story would be picked up by MU Magazine, a Japanese magazine focusing on cryptids and the supernatural. Some Dandan shit. The article would also include a Google Earth screenshot with what looks like a giant whale with arms taken off the coast of Namibia. And in 2010, the Enoshima Aquarium would upload a video featuring a large number of deep sea organisms. But at the end of the broadcast, a large amount of soil would be kicked up, and what looked like a deep sea monster would show up on the screen. The Ningen would also be lumped in with another cryptid known as Antarctic Godzilla, a colossal mammalian creature reported in the 50s that gained its name from its kaiju-like size and because the captain was a Godzilla fan. I am not going to lump the Ningen in with the Antarctic Godzilla because its description is a bit different and doesn't really fit, and also I'd like to cover this in better detail in the future. Many have also theorized that the Ningen hasn't been recognized by science because the government is covering up its existence, due to them secreting rare substances that have incredible medical and/or industrial utility. Now, when it comes to making a case for the Ningen being a real thing, the explanations are absolutely insane. So let's just start with an insane one right off the bat, and start by taking their name a little literally. Some have theorized that the Ningen are distant relatives of primates, separated by millions of years of evolution and evolving into Goliaths in the Southern Sea. The best supporting argument for any of the evolution theories that I'll get to in a minute, that I'm going to address, is that how rapidly whales themselves have evolved to adapt to the water. With it taking the artiodactyl ancestors, like the Pachycetus, 8 to 10 million years to fully adapt to the ocean. Given how rapid they evolved in a relatively short amount of time, speaking from an evolutionary standpoint, it has led some to believe that with a dozen or so million years of evolution, massive marine sizes like this are not impossible. Other evolutionary candidates include other whales, primarily some odd undiscovered species of beluga, whale sharks, which are epic-ass sharks that come from this Cretaceous period, or some type of massive ray, and lastly, the Thalassocnus. Fucking ground sloths. Sid will just never give me a break. Well, we just did ground sloths. The Thalassocnus are ground sloths who lived off the coast of Peru and Chile prior to the Isthmus of Panama forming some 3 million years ago. And due to Panama not being there, the ocean currents allowed for warm waters to circulate across the west coast of South America, creating large kelp forests like that seen on the west coast of the United States. And since their territory lacked sufficient resources to survive, these sloths evolved semi-aquatic lifestyles, feasting upon the kelp forests and evolving semi-aquatic traits, such as heavier bones and larger, sleeker bodies. All was fine until the Isthmus of Panama formed, changing the current in the Pacific and causing colder waters to flow, killing off the kelp forests and eventually the Thalassocnus that have evolved to rely on them. If you want to learn more about ground sloths, make sure to watch my videos on them, they are epic. But to just go at this theory first, it probably makes the least sense out of all of them for it to be a Thalassocnus. For starters, they went extinct due to cold waters wiping out their food sources. Now, if your food doesn't grow in the cold, why would you go to one of the coldest places possible? It just makes no sense. It also leaves an incredibly small amount of time for these creatures to evolve into such massive beings that are completely different. But then again, Xenarthrans are all about being weird as hell, so it's in their nature to just kind of defy us like that. Now, I fuck with eagle sharks heavy. They are really cool looking, and I'd love for them to still be around, but unfortunately, rays just kind of filled in their role way too hard for them to hold out, and even if they did, they would have had to survive the KT mass extinction, and that is highly unlikely. On them being any type of whale, it also seems pretty unlikely, as this body plan has never been seen in any cetacean or creature in general ever, especially with human hands. Belugas are also out of the question as they are found on the other side of the planet, up in the Arctic, although it is possible for a southern species of beluga to have been down there undiscovered. They're some of my favorite whales, and I have a lot of faith in them. Regarding primates, this creature would have had to come from a lineage of primates so distant it's not even funny. And I'm not talking like one or two mermonkeys evolving here and there. I mean like tens of millions of years of aquatic primates that have been completely hidden from human discovery. We're talking about the aquatic ape hypothesis and stretching it to its absolute limits. It's just so incredibly unlikely. And if this thing is supposed to be any type of mammal, there's no way in hell this thing is hiding at the bottom of the ocean forever. Firstly, at that size, its bones would have to have been incredibly powerful to survive the pressure of the deep ocean, along with its powerful currents of the ocean. And also, it would need air eventually, meaning it has a limited time to stay underwater. I also don't think that this could be any type of ray or shark, just due to how different from anything we've ever known that this thing is. It would change the way we look at evolution entirely. And an even wilder theory is that the Ningen are aliens. Now, why would an alien capable of spanning the cosmos fly all the way out to our little old Earth, strip off all its clothes, and then take a dip in the Antarctic? Just why? Like, if they're chill like that, okay, understandable, but at least give us some cool tech or something, bro. Like, imagine what their version of Fortnite looks like. They could also be like some type of alien pet, or perhaps some type of world-killing superorganism that aliens left to take us out, Pacific Rim style. But if that's the case, Antarctic Godzilla would have pieced him up ages ago. Personally, this just seems entirely made up, and the reasoning is pretty simple. For starters, their body just doesn't seem right for the ocean, let alone for one of the smallest and most rigorous oceans in the world. Although I am no expert in anatomy, and I wouldn't question the great cook in the sky, but this type of body plan just does not seem it for the oceans. We've just never seen it before. Dugongs and manatees are the closest we've ever found, but even then, they're nothing like this. And for just a second, I would like to look at the legged version of the Ningen. Bro, this is just the goofiest body plan ever. Now, there is a large likelihood that Titan from Generation 9 of Pokemon was inspired by these Ningen depictions. And that would be really cool because it would be an example of a Pokemon being influenced by a cryptid that is younger than the franchise itself. The lack of evidence, especially if it's such a large creature, is also a massive death nail for the likelihood of this thing existing. Whales and even former cryptids like giant squids have all washed up on shore, so why wouldn't a Goliath like this show up? It would have been found at least somewhere off the coast of South America, Africa, Australia, or even Antarctica itself, or maybe the many oceans that dot this region. And the whole government cover-up story is just such BS. Like, not to run defense for the government, but the Ningen just producing some valuable substance would not warrant them being shut down with any information of them getting out there except for cryptid bros. They would have to remove any evidence of them washing up literally anywhere, which is just insane amount of resources just to keep a whale with hands from giving people longer lives or something. If anything, it also goes against what a scientist wishes to cover. Like, I mean, think about it. Imagine you make the breakthrough of the century, right? And this can make you a trillionaire. You could solve so many of the world's problems. But you just decide to keep it hidden, living a broke life, remaining unknown, and forever regretting that decision because the government evil or something. Regarding the Google Earth photos that look like Ningen, well, in the end of the day, icebergs create weird-ass shapes, and human pattern recognition go kinda crazy. And the 2010s video has also been theorized to be a very strange rock formation, or maybe even a snaggle-toothed eel, which, bro, what the hell? Bro, I'm telling you, man, we don't need cryptids when we know that stuff like this exists. Not to insult my boy down here, this looks just so... Oh, it looks like it came out of hell, man. What the... We do not need cryptids half the time, I'm telling you. Now, I usually cover lesser-known cryptids, but if you've been active on the internet, you'd have probably ran into depictions of the Ningen at least once. Hell, it even has a Pokemon counterpart, potentially, and that's something a New Age cryptid could only dream of having. The Ningen, for some reason, just works really well for a creepy sea cryptid. And yes, even the beluga with legs, although I can never look at this guy as creepy at all. He just looks cool. For starters, the design of the Ningen is just terrifying, taking the gargantuan size of large whales, using belugas for a primary inspiration, and they're some of the weirdest looking whales you could think of. And on top of that, you give them human features like arms and legs, triggering that classic uncanny valley response on top of all of the other stuff. Wrapping all of these features together and then showing them several times larger than ships is just utterly dreadful. The human legs of the land walking variant are also pretty bizarre, just leaving you asking, bro, what do you need those legs for? And now you place them into the ocean, a domain that triggers great discomfort for many, a place where man has no dominion over. And on top of all of that, they aren't just found in the ocean in general, but they live in the Antarctic Ocean, one of the most violent and unforgiving oceans in the world. You are far from land, and the land that you may find is closest to Antarctica, the most isolated, unknown, and downright mysterious continents in the world, and is also riddled with conspiracy mumbo jumbo that is spewed online repeatedly. And for the legged Ningen, that would just make you believe any more weird shit that's up on there. Also, Ningen sightings may be missightings of icebergs, but what if it's the other way around? What if instead of the icebergs that you pass by, each being absolutely gargantuan and so strong that they can sink massive ships and start up this YouTube channel, instead we're living creatures, each capable of destroying you in a second? Its design, its environment, it's just an amazing sea monster. Even for a new age cryptid, I feel this is just right out of a sea monster tale. It holds up with the tales of old. It just works so well as an internet cryptid. The Ningen is a very unique new age cryptid that has at least caught the attention of one of us at least at some point before clicking on this video. That doesn't count. Is this a real thing? Absolutely not. But if you're a young lad browsing the internet like myself once was, and you come across whales of hands, you can't help but feel weirded the hell out. The mere idea that something like this can cross paths with you while out in the sea is just unsettling. And in that sense, it succeeds at being a solid sea monster. The one with the legs is pretty chill though. I wouldn't mind like a plushie of one of these or something. But keep these dudes with hands just the hell away from me. They are super creepy. Also, I didn't know where to put this, so I decided to put it here. But while researching, I found a video from 2021 on the Ningen from another series named Cryptid Corner. I swear I was unaware of this other Cryptid Corner, but the fact that there are two Cryptid Corners that have covered the Ningen is so epic. Shout outs to you, Cryptid Chris. And that's going to do it for the Ningen. Thank you all for watching. This was a very interesting one to cover. It's a more well-known cryptid, but I mean, I noticed there wasn't that much on it, actually, you know? It's like such a popular cryptid, but there's next to nothing on them. But nonetheless, they're really weird, and I wanted to cover why it works so well for being a cryptid. Due to its like creepier design and stuff. I wanted to also focus on that because I know that no way it's real, but I did want to compliment it on its epic design. We do have our first member to the channel though, Noel Vaughn. Thank you very much for becoming a member. If you'd like to become a member, helps the channel out. You know, you get early access to videos. You get, I like to give you priority on video suggestion as well, but you don't have to. It would just be really cool if you did. Helps the channel, helps me. But you just watching helps, so never feel pressured to become a member. Just make sure to like the video, subscribe, ring the notifications, and pull up for the next one. But yeah, thank you all for watching, and I'd like to see you in the next video. Goodbye.